All right, what's up, guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, it is time for a Silver's Rayleigh update. That's right, OP12 001 Silver's Rayleigh, a brand new red leader coming out in OP12. Now, I understand this video will not be for everyone. If you don't really care about spoilers, or if you don't really care about red decks, or if you don't care about Silver's Rayleigh, or whatever, this video might not be for you, and I understand that. But hear me out. This is something that I'm starting to take on the side on this channel, right? This has become like a side project for the channel because this is a leader I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I'm not in love with the way they chose to design him, but I do think there's going to be something there, something I had not seen before. Now that we have started to see more and more support, which we're going to go over in today's video, the leader's actually, it's actually shaping up to be something kind of decent. I'm going to try and sell you guys on that in today's video, because I know that this leader was really frowned upon when it first came out. But guys, after looking up a little bit of proxy games from the East and seeing some of the new support and stuff like that, this leader might actually be really, really cool. And I'm going to try and, like I said, I'm going to try and sell you guys on that in today's video. I'm going to try and convince you guys of that in today's video. Okay, so let me lay out the video real quick. First things first, we're going to go over the leader and every single card that has been released in OP12 for the red color pool that could probably help out this leader. That's the first thing we're going to do, so we can get an idea of where to go forward with this leader in the future, right? So that's the first thing we're going to do, is a lot of spoilers for OP12. After that, we're going to head over to some deck lists that I found on YouTube of, a Silver's Rayleigh deck. And we'll talk about that more as we get into it. But don't worry, I will link the games where I got those lists from in the comment section below, so you can check those out at your own leisure. You can, because there's a lot of good stuff out there over on the East right now, guys. They get the cards before us, and on top of that, they also like to proxy cards up and just play, over the tabletop with friends and stuff like that. There's a lot of channels that do that. It's really nice to watch them play test some of the newer stuff that's not even available to them yet. Okay, so really cool stuff there. I'll link that in the comment section below. After that, we're going to finish up on the sim, and I'm going to do like a final wrap up, tell you guys what I think about the leader moving forward, and some of the cards, some card choices that might have some potential in the future in the deck. Okay, so you know what you're getting into, guys. I'll have everything time-stamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant deck lists and links and stuff like that in the comments section below. Now, as usual, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comment section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link is in the channel description. Now, let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. First of all, check out this awesome picture of Rayleigh in the background. This is, of course, the alt art for the leader, and this is the normal art right here. I actually like both of them. To be honest with everyone, I actually like both of these like the art for both of them. So it's going to be hard for me to pick. I'll probably do. I don't know how to explain it. Do you guys do what I'm about to say here? I'm probably going to do what I've seen some people do, where it's like you put one art on one side and you put it in a hard case, and on the other side you put the alt art. I do like to do that with my leaders when I can. Like, for example, with Red, Yellow, Sabo, I have the premium, like the black, red, and yellow on one side, and then the standard alt art, the white, red, and yellow on the other side. So I can kind of just pick whatever mood I'm in. Okay, we'll run with the white version today, or the black version, or whatever. And I'll probably have to do that with Silver's Rayleigh. So that way, in a hard case, I will have this on one side, and then I'll have this one on the other. That could look pretty cool. Tell me if you guys do that as well. I love doing that when I can. Okay, and I don't typically, I mention this all the time, I typically do not collect the alt arts, but I will probably have to make an exception for our guy Silver's Rayleigh. Okay, now, let me go ahead and read through this leader, and then we'll go from there. This is a 5-life, 5,000 power mono red leader that has former Roger Pirates type, and it has these interesting conditions, okay? Per the rules, you cannot have cards with a cost of 5 or greater in your deck. Okay, so right away, no 5-cost Luffy, no 6-cost Rayleigh, no 6-cost Rayleigh, excuse me, no 5-cost Rayleigh, no 7-cost Ben Beckman, no 8-cost Rayleigh, no 9-cost I don't know, Edward Newgate or something. I'm just making stuff up now. No 10-cost Shanks. None of these incredibly powerful cards Red would typically have access to, because per the rules, we cannot include a card that costs 5 or greater. So we can only include cards that cost 4 and lower, okay? I really have to stress that, guys. That is extremely limiting. And when people first saw this leader, myself included, I was like, this is terrible. This is unbearable. We'll have to see what comes out, though. I always try to keep an open mind. We'll have to see what comes out and maybe makes this leader more playable. And there have been some good spoilers that, there's been some good additions, some good support for this leader that have come out that we do have to talk about. Okay, but so we can't include anything that costs 5 or more in the deck. That's the first major handicap against us, pretty much trying to build this leader. Next up, we have an activate main that's once per turn. You may reveal 2 event cards from your hand and then give up to one of your characters with a base power of 4,000 or less plus 2,000 power for this turn. So there's like 4 things I want to mention right there. You have to reveal 2 event cards. Okay, that's number 1. So you're giving your opponent information, and you have to build your deck in a way that you have enough event cards to even pull this effect off. Then you have to give up to one of your characters with a base power of 4,000 or less. So it can't be 5,000 power or more. A 4,000 power or less character you can buff by 2,000. There's the 4th thing, only for the turn. I feel like I have a lot of things to say about this. Okay, let's talk about this from a design standpoint. Obviously, the 6,000 number is calculated. So you have a 4,000 power base power character, right? And you're going to give them 2,000 power. Okay, I actually think that was a mistake from the get-go. I'll try not to harp on it too much, but I feel like it should have been plus 3,000 power since it's only for the turn buff. It's only a for the turn buff, and that would allow you to get to 7,000 power for your Gum Gum Mole Gun or Mole Pistol, whatever it's called, and that would allow you to do all kinds of stuff. Well, actually, no, excuse me. No, that's right, because you only have to have a 6,000 power or less character on the board, and then it can KO a 7,000 or less, right? Okay, so that's actually fine. Never mind. I do take that back. I was thinking I had the numbers backwards. But either way, I would have liked to get to 7,000, to be honest, guys, since it's only a for the turn buff for revealing 2 event cards from my hand and building my deck in that way. And not to mention, like I said, we can't have 5 cost or higher characters in the deck. We literally can't. It's against the rules. But I still think it should have been 7,000 for one other reason, because it attacks for 7 into 5 into like the standard leader powers is 5,000. So that would force the 2K, 1K out of hand from these little tiny 4,000 power characters we have on the board. Because then the next thing is this is only for the turn. So when we turn our 4,000 power or lower characters sideways, they're gone. Like our opponent's going to attack into those and they're pretty much gone, right? So that is something we have to calculate. That is something we have to consider moving forward with the deck. That is a very, very important factor we have to consider at all times. Okay, I do think they made Rayleigh a little bit too. How do I say this? I think they were too safe with this leader. That doesn't mean it's unplayable. It doesn't mean it's super underpowered. I just feel like they tried to tune this one a little too much. This one's like, well, you'd think that would be like, it's overtuned, but let me say it like this. I feel like it's a little bit undertuned. They didn't want it to be overtuned, so they actually tuned it down, if that makes sense. I know that's confusing. Y'all bear with me. Okay, so there's the leader effect. We have a lot to consider. No 5 cost or greater characters in the deck. Okay, well, that means half the game is unplayable for red, right? Like half the red color pool is not even playable. Actually, over half, right? Because if there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then the other 6 aren't available to us, yeah. So like we literally have access to less than half of our cost range. But that's okay. We're going to try and make it work. And with the support that came out, I think it will be doable. And we'll talk about that in just a second. And then some other things we have to consider though is, okay, we need a balance of events in our deck and a balance of 4,000 power or lower characters in our deck to get all of the advantages we need for running this leader. Because we do have to talk about something that is potentially very beneficial. If we're buffing a 4,000 power character on the board, anything that costs 4 or less and has 4,000 power or less, it will probably have a pretty decent effect, right? That's why it's costed in the way it is, or that's why it's cost and powers the way it is. So being able to give those characters plus 2,000 power really for free without any Dawn attachment, that does have a lot of potential if you think about it. That does have a lot of potential. Okay, so let's keep that in mind as we're going forward. I know some people are going to say like, hey, yeah, but with Zoro, I attach 1 Dawn to my leader and I get plus 1,000 to the whole board. I know, guys, but we're trying to make this work, and there are going to be some, believe it or not, I think by the end of this video, you guys are going to see some reason to run Silver's Rayleigh. I think it's going to have certain advantages that maybe Zoro does not. Maybe Zoro does not have. We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Okay, now, let's do this. So there's the leader. The next card we're going to look at is Observation Haki. There are 3 different Haki cards we're going to look at, and it is all 3 of them: the Observation, Armament, and Conqueror's Haki. I believe they're all 0 cost, but then you have to attach Dawn or rest Dawn in certain ways. But here we go. So Observation Haki is a 0 cost red event, former Roger Pirates. With main, you may attach 1 active Dawn to your Silver's Rayleigh. Okay, then you're going to do a top 4 search and reveal up to 1 red card, 1 red event card, or up to 1 cost 3 or greater character card. Okay, then put it into your hand and place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, I'm going to be greedy here. I'm going to be selfish, I guess, guys. Bear with me. But I think this card should have said, you may attach 1 active Dawn to your Silver's Rayleigh. That part's fine. And then do a top 4 search of your deck and reveal up to 1 card that costs 4 or less. I'm just going to say it, guys. I'm going to say it should have been a card that costs 4 or less. Any red card that costs 4 or less, excuse me. Do a top 4 search of any red card that costs 4 or less. Because this is supposed to be for Silver's Rayleigh. I mean, then anyone can still run it. Like, anyone would still be able to run it at that point. But I feel like this would just be so much better for Silver's Rayleigh. Now, yes, we do get to search up any cost event, so we could search up other hockey events and stuff like that. But making it where we can't search up our smaller characters, that makes me a little bit sad. And I understand what they're trying to do here. They're trying to make it where, okay, yeah, but this would go into another searcher, into a potentially another searcher, into potentially another searcher, and they're trying to prevent that. Well, again, there has to be some type of advantage for us running Silver's Rayleigh. There has to be some type of, draw for us to like, oh yeah, I want to play this leader because of this factor. So I do hate how they kind of limited that. I wish they had made this card where it did a top 4 search for cost 4 and lower red cards, period. I don't care if they're characters, events, stages, you name it, no matter what type they are. Because this is observation hockey after all. It made for Silver's, it's Silver Rayleigh's observation hockey in particular, right? So, you know, we'll still be able to make do. It's still very good. Let me say that. You're attaching a Dawn for the turn. So instead of having to pay one and do like a top 4 search, you're attaching an active Dawn to your leader and doing it in that way. Now, it can, again, I have to see the official translations here, but notice how this says you may attach 1 active Dawn to your Silver's Rayleigh, and it doesn't say your Silver's Rayleigh leader. So you'll probably be able to attach this to any card named Silver's Rayleigh. So there is some, some wiggle room there. There is some extra versatility, so that will be good. You could even potentially run this in like Shanks or Zoro if you're going to be running Rayleighs in there, like the 5 cost or 8 cost Rayleigh. I still think this is a great card. Okay, let me say that. It's a top 4 search. I'm not saying that this is a bad card, and it is starting to show like, okay, wait a minute, this is a little bit cool, right? So I have Silver's Rayleigh, and his big strength is his hockey control, right? His just like natural gifts for hockey and how good he is with them. And okay, so if it's going to make it, if they're going to make Rayleigh where he has all these hockey cards in his deck, that is kind of cool if you think about it, guys. There's going to be a lot of searchability. Wait till you see it. There's going to be a lot of searching going on, so we're actually going through our deck and setting cards towards the end if the game goes on long enough. It does have some potential, and this is a good start for what we're going to see for the leader. Okay, next up we have Armament Haki. So we did Observation, now we have Armament. So this one's a 0 cost main, attach 1 active Dawn to your Silver's Rayleigh, worded the exact same way as Observation Haki, but listen to what this one does. Give up to one of your leader or characters plus 1,000 power for this turn. Okay, and then counter, give up to one of your characters or your Silver's Rayleigh plus 2,000 for this battle. So this card is essentially a 2k counter. Okay, this is a 0 cost 2k counter event. So that's pretty good, right? That's really not bad. And let's not forget, guys, when it comes to Observation Haki, we can search up any red event we want to. So again, look at the top 4 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 red event card or up to 1 cost 3 or greater character card. Okay, so in other words, we can search up any kind of event with our Observation Haki, even going into Armament Haki. And this is basically a 0 cost 2k. It's like a utility 2k. We can either attach it onto our Rayleigh and then give him 1,000 power buff in our main. So basically, you know, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like attaching 1 Dawn for 2k power, and you can actually spread it across, you know, a leader or a character as well. Like attach a Dawn to your Silver's Rayleigh, and then give up to one of your leader or characters plus 1,000 power for the turn. So you can spread 2,000 power, excuse me, for really just 1 Dawn. Excuse me, guys. You can spread 2,000 power for just 1 Dawn. So that's not terrible. It's not great. Again, I feel like they were trying to be so timid, so shy and reserved when making Silver's Rayleigh. Like, they undertuned everything he did. Because I don't think this would have been broken if it said, you know, main, you may attach 1 active Dawn to your Silver's Rayleigh and then give up to one of your leader or characters plus 2,000 power for this turn. Would that have been that crazy? I really don't think so, guys. I'm going to be honest. But who knows? I mean, hey, they did their own balancing when they were testing this stuff, so maybe they decided that 3,000 or 2,000 power would have just been way too powerful. Okay, or at least maybe even plus 1,000 power to the start of your next turn. I would have loved to have seen that, but hey, we're going to try to make this work. So very powerful 2k counter utility card here with Armament Haki. And now we have a card called Crocus here. This is a red character with a 2 cost, 3,000 power, 1k counter, former Roger Pirates. On KO, reveal 2 event cards from your hand, so that's very, set, and, that's exactly what we're trying to do with Rayleigh. We're going to reveal 2 event cards from our hand, and play up to 1 red character card with a power of 3,000 or less from your hand. So he can technically just replace himself right on the board, right? Because it doesn't say a character with 3,000 power or less other than Crocus, or not named Crocus. No, you can actually just play him out. And we have to keep that in mind as well. So how are we? So, okay, I hate how I'm kind of all over the place, guys. I try to keep things on a very straight moving line forward so it's easier to follow. But hear me out. There are some things we have to consider. Number one is, like I said, we have to have enough events in the deck to really pull off our leader effect appropriately, efficiently. Then we also have to look for enough 4,000 power or lower characters to include to really benefit from our leader's effect. 3,000 power is not too bad, because if you do the leader effect, he swings for 5. That seems pretty good. But now there's also the potential for a card like this, where it's like, okay, maybe we also need to consider 3,000 power or lower characters as well, if this card ends up being what we need to keep our board nice and wide, because we're going to need to go pretty wide on the board. We can't go tall. We literally cannot go tall. Like, it's not allowed per the rules to go tall with Silver's Rayleigh. So what's the only other option we have? Wide. That's the only option we have. So we're going to have to keep that into consideration too when we're building this deck. And seeing a 3,000 power or lower character, condition like what Crocus has here, we should keep that in mind. It might not make the final cut. But there is some potential there. Okay? Not going to spend too much time on Crocus. But who knows? I mean, I say that now. It might end up being one of the best cards in the deck later. Okay, next up we have Monkey D. Luffy. Now we got some firepower here, guys. Let's lock in, really understand what this card does. Red character, 4 cost, 4,000 power, Straw Hat Supernova character with a 1k counter if you have 2 or more attached Dawn cards. Now, understand, let me say this. From all that I understand, this is worded properly, where you just have to have 2 attached Dawn cards anywhere on the board. Then this character will gain plus 2,000 power. So in other words, you don't have to attach 2 Dawn to him. You can, but you don't have to attach 2 Dawn to this character to get that effect if it is translated correctly and if I'm understanding it correctly. So that's actually very, very good, right? So in other words, this is going to make certain cards very powerful, because, like, for example, there is a new 3-cost Nami that came out in the starter deck that can attach 2 rested Dawn cards to characters. Okay, well now right away this is a 6,000 power character, and notice this, guys. This character gains plus 2,000 power. That's just period. Okay, so as long as there are 2 attached Dawn cards somewhere on the board, this is a 6,000 power character at all times. It's not a your turn only effect or your opponent's turn only. This is just static. Next up, this is probably the even more, like, that was already very powerful for what it was doing as is, because remember, this is a 4,000 power base character that goes with our leader effect, okay? But not just that. Listen to this on play. There's not just that one powerful effect there, but this second one is probably even better. On play, reveal 2 event cards. Okay, get used to that, guys. Get used to the revealing 2 event cards. Play up to 1 red character with a power of 3,000 or less from your hand. Then give up to 1 of your leader or characters 1 rested Dawn. Okay, so that's allowing us to, so we're going to be able to play out a 4-cost Luffy here, cheating out a 3-cost character, maybe like the Nami I just said, or the Sanji, the 3-cost 3,000 power Sanji, could be something there, and then we're going to get to attach a free Dawn to our leader, okay, or whatever's on the board, whatever we have to do. So that already fulfills half of his requirement for the 2 attached Dawn, to get his plus 2,000 power permanent buff, or just static buff, continuous buff. So, very, very good stuff here. This card is excellent. I have voiced my frustrations with this card in the past. I wish the card had Rush. I'm going to be honest. I wish this card said, if your leader is Silver's Rayleigh, he gets Rush. Actually, maybe that's what it should have said. For the on-play, you may reveal 2 event cards from your hand, and then play up to 1 red character with a power of 3,000 or less from your hand. Then, if your leader is Silver's Rayleigh, give up to 1 of your leader or character cards 1 rested Dawn, and this character gains Rush for the turn. I wish that's what it said. Unfortunately, it's not. Maybe that would have been too strong. Maybe they would have had to remove the 1k counter at that point. I don't care. Just do it. Because I'm not countering out with this card. This card's hitting the board. It's cheating out other characters. I'm going to town. I'm absolutely going to town. That's another thing. Notice again, remember what I was just talking about with Crocus, how he's cheating out 3,000 power characters? Well, look at this, guys. On play, revealing 2 event cards, we play up to 1 red character with a power of 3,000 or less. So you see what they're trying to do. We see what Bandai's trying to do here, how they want us to build this deck and, like, cheat out the 3,000 power characters. We have to keep that in mind. It's even more conditions we have to meet. But I think it's something we can work with. Okay, next up we have Conqueror's Haki. Conqueror's Haki, again, they were all zero-cost cards. This one, so remember, Armament Haki and Observation Haki, their activate main effect was attaching an active Dawn to your leader, right? Or I think it was to your Silver's Rayleigh, rather. Well, now with the Conqueror's Haki, listen to what this does. Counter, give up to one of your characters or your Silver's Rayleigh plus 2,000 power for this battle. Then you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if you did, give all of your opponent's leaders and characters minus 1,000 power for this turn. So I have to say that's very frustrating to read, how we have to then, you may rest one of your Dawn cards type of effects. Because you see what they're giving green right now. But between, they've had Hody Jones, right? We've already seen Hody Jones and what he can do. But it's not just that now. You have Hody Jones in green, and now there's a new event coming out in OP12, you know, with this event. It's called, I think it's called Demonic Asura 9-Blade Dead Man's Game or something along those lines. And it's a 4-cost version of the card. It's a 4-cost version of the Hody Jones effect, I mean, where you get to rest down 2 Dawn. So that is something I wish they would have really, really gotten away from for Silver's Rayleigh. Because we already have so many unbelievable restrictions on what this leader's allowed to do. I wish they had not made this Conqueror's Haki be something that could not be used. You know what I mean? Like if you're playing against your opponent and they're playing well and they know what they're doing and they rest down your Dawn, oh, now you don't get to use Conqueror's Haki. I mean, I guess you do. You can still do, it's still a 0-cost counter with some extra utility on it, because you can always do the give up to one of your characters or Rayleigh plus 2,000 power for this battle. That is always accessible. But if you're trying to do the minus 1,000 power to the whole field, which is like what Conqueror's Haki is all about, then you can't do that, right? And let me say that if they're going to make it where you know, again, I'm saying if they rest our Dawn now with something like Dead Man's Game or Hody Jones. And what I'm trying to say is this. I really, really wish they had flipped those two around. I wish it said, give all of your opponent's leaders and characters minus 1,000 power for this turn. Then you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if you did, give your character or Silver's Rayleigh plus 1,000, plus 2,000 power for the battle. I wish it was the other way around, right? And in fact, I wish it was completely the other way, the totally other way around. I wish it was give minus 2,000 power to all the to the board and plus 1,000 to your Silver's Rayleigh. But whatever, I'll try not to harp too much on that. I'm trying to give you guys ideas on how they really were treating this leader with kitty gloves. Like, they were really like, okay, we don't want him to be too strong. You can really tell that Bandai was like, we do not want to make Silver's Rayleigh too strong. Like, it was an active, they were working on that actively to make sure he was not too strong. So that should tell you something. That should tell you something like, okay, he must have been really, really powerful before everything was worked out. I don't know. I'm trying to give Bandai the benefit of the doubt. Is that my #1 mistake right there? I have no idea. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. But I just have to say, for Conqueror's Haki, this is a disappointment. Is it still a good card? Yeah, of course. Like, this card in general, like take off the name Conqueror's Haki, right? Like, if you show me an event right here that looks like this, like, oh yeah, hey guys, we got this 0-cost event right here that does, you know, plus 2,000 power for the battle, static, and then you can rest a Dawn, and if your opponent, and then you know, give minus 1,000 to the board, right? Like, that'd be really solid. It's a 0-cost 3,000 power effect there, but it's really a 0-cost 2,000 power effect and a 1-cost 3,000 power effect. Well, that's not really special, right? Every color has that. Every color has like some version of the 1-cost 3K. Red has guard point. Green has what is it called? Actually, most people even have like a 1-cost 4K now. Let me just do 1-cost 4K. So 1 Dawn, Rad Beam. Green has, I think it's like Billionfold, Trichiliocosm. Blue has Gum Gum, Giant Gavel. Purple has Blast Breath and Gum Gum Giant if you're Straw Hat. Black has Barrier, and it soon will have another one in this one. It's some type of... It's some type of Rebel Army effect. I can't remember the name of it. So that's 5, and then the 6-color yellow. They of course have the Earth Will Not Lose. That's a 3K, but then they have El Thor for their 4K. So like, seeing a 0-cost 3K for this leader, as restricted as it is, that's not really impressive to me. I'm not going to lie. But it's also not a bad card. It's just fine, and it's trying to satisfy some things we need in the deck, like, you know, events. But man, I was expecting Conqueror's Haki to be something incredible. In fact, I have to give a shout out to my guy, Mike. He came up with this incredible idea when we were still brainstorming, when they had already revealed Observation Haki and Armament Haki. We were like, hang on, we had this idea. Again, I got to give a shout out to Mike, my buddy who I'm doing all my deck building and brainstorming with all the time. he came up with this idea. What if they made Conqueror's Haki into an event that was some type of alternate win condition, where like you had, I'm not gonna go through all the details of what it could be. It could be anything, but imagine if they had made it a Silver's Rayleigh leader locked event that was an alternate win condition. Like, have a certain amount of characters on the board, like, an entire crew that can claim the One Piece, and then with Conqueror's Haki, you end up winning the game, you win the game in that way. Like, I'm not saying that's exactly it, that was just a quick example, but think about it, guys. Conqueror's Haki, if I use Conqueror's Haki, I'm flooring you, right? Your whole board's gone. And another idea that I had, or me and him both had, I think, actually, he came up with that one for the alternate win condition. I was saying it'd be really cool if Conqueror's Haki was some type of board wipe, because now, think about it, guys. If Conqueror's Haki was an alternate win con for Rayleigh or some type of board wipe, now all of a sudden there's like this really big idea of like, okay, I want to run Rayleigh because he's the only leader in the game that has this insanely busted effect. Okay, it's busted, but listen to how you have to build the deck. You have to have 4 cost or lower characters and cards. You have to have all these events in there. It would add up. It would make sense. But as is, I'm a little bit concerned. We'll have to see what happens, but I am starting to think that Rayleigh's going to be a little bit more decent, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But I wish, when I see Conqueror's Haki on a 0-cost event, it's just a 0-cost 3K guy. Excuse me. It's a 0-cost 2K and a 1-cost 3K. That's all it is. Now, people are going to say, yeah, but that's minus 1,000 power for the rest of the turn to the whole board. Whoa. Okay, yep, that was cool and all. Hody Jones, Dead Man's Game. I'm sorry, it's just not enough for what I think Conqueror's Haki should have been. And guys, I'm not even the crazy One Piece fanatic over here. I'm the person who watches One Piece totally on the side. I barely know anything about the about the anime. But when I heard about Conqueror's Haki and how incredible it was, that really had me interested. Now I see it in the game. I could not be more disappointed, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I know that was a little bit negative. I'm sorry, guys. Hey, here we are. I'm still trying to make it work. I'm not saying I'm not going to use it. It's just, the name association. Conqueror's Haki? Oh, yeah, we'll make it 0-cost 2K. Anyway, I'll end that there. Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section below. Don't be as negative as me, guys. I'm sorry. This is one of those situations. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm just kidding. No, but we try to keep things positive over here on the VV Theory, and we're going to try and make this work. I just really wish that Conqueror's Haki would have conquered some people, man. That would have been really cool to me. Okay, at least give it an activate main or a trigger as well. It's just a counter. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. Okay, next one. Next up, we got Shakuyaku. This is a red character, 1 cost, 2,000 power, 1K counter, Amazon Lily type. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 Monkey D. Luffy or red event card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Now, we do have to fast forward real quick over to Boa. Whoops, there we are. Boa is pretty much the same thing. 2 cost, 3,000 power with no counter. So Shaki is 1 cost, 2K counter. 1 cost, 2,000 power with a 1K counter. Does a top 5 search for an event or Luffy. Now here's what Boa does. On play, top 5 search for a Monkey D. Luffy. Or event. Hang on, I just messed that up. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 red event or Monkey D. Luffy and put it into your hand. Then place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So they have the exact same effect, but then Boa has the additional effect. They have no 1K counter. Boa has no 1K counter, but she has this additional effect. Activate main, trash this character, and give up to 1 of your leaders or characters up to 2 of your Rested Dawn cards. So like, let me say this right now. These are essentially the same effect in the deck, but we're probably going to want to run both of them. Because this is searching up Luffy. We already looked at Luffy, right? And it's searching up events. We already showed a bunch of the Conqueror's Haki, Armament Haki, Observation Haki. We looked at all these different events. These are going to be incredible utility searchers. But it does still make me very sad and slightly annoyed that we're not going to be able to just search up everything, right? Like I'm going to want to run the 3-cost Sanji in this deck. It was made for this deck. It's perfect in this deck. But I can't. I'll search right past it on turn 1 with something like this. That doesn't leave a good taste in my mouth, I'm not going to lie. And then also when you look at, now I will say this, in Boa Hancock, we'd be going second, right? So we're not going to really necessarily want the 3-cost Sanji in that opening search. So this card is actually fine because it'd be going second. So turn 1, we have 2 Dawn. Turn 2, we have 4 Dawn. Drop down the 4-cost Luffy, spray out another character, and start smashing into your opponent's face. This card is fine. I do like this one a lot. And then it has Activate Main effect afterwards. And that is a you may trash this character effect. It doesn't say rest and trash the character. So in other words, think about it. On your next turn, after you played out the Luffy and whatever else, okay, well, actually, let's just go a little bit of turn to the future. You might be able to use your leader's effect, revealing 2 events and giving this character plus 2,000 power for the turn, swing for 5, then trash this character, give Dawn over here. There's a lot of combo potential with this card. Boa is excellent. This is a really nice card. I think that benefits what Rayleigh's trying to do quite a bit. Really good stuff here. Okay, it does not have a counter, but the Shakuyaku card does. And we'll probably be running both of them. Like I said, it frustrates me a little bit. It hurts the consistency of a deck when you're doing a top search. I mean, think about it, guys. If I'm going first, where I want to go 1, 3, 5, or I guess in this deck 1, 3, 4. Okay, if I go turn 1, play out Shakuyaku, and the card that I won in there was Sanji, that's not going to feel good at all. That's going to feel terrible. And in fact, I'm going to say this again. I wish that Observation Haki, Shakuyaku, and this Boa Hancock, I wish they were worded completely differently. I wish they said, look at the top 5 cards of your deck and reveal up to 1 red card that costs 4 or less. So that way I can always access, because consistency is going to be a very big deal for this leader, guys. We're already dealing with a leader that has like 5 conditions we have to meet at all times, 5 restrictions that we have to meet at all times just to build the leader out. Just to get a plus 2,000 buff, just to get a plus 2,000 buff, we have to hinder our deck in every way, shape, and form. The least they could have done was give Observation Haki and then Shakuyaku and Boa the ability to search up anything in our deck, right? That would have been nice, because it's not like we can go crazy with it. It's not like we can just add any card we want to the deck. We can only add 4 cost and lower cards. So there's that, okay? Again, I'm starting to get frustrated again. It is what it is. These cards are still very good, though. Let me say right now, Shakuyaku and Boa Hancock, very strong searchers. Let's keep going. Okay, I think this is the last one. Yeah, then we got the Dawn we'll look at in a second. So here's the last one we have so far, guys, that's been revealed for OP12. This is Shanks. He's a red character, 4 cost, 6,000 power, 4 Emperors, Red Hair Pirates type with blocker. On opponent's attack, once per turn, discard 1 card from your hand, and then up to 1 of your opponent's leaders or characters gets minus 2,000 power during this turn. So again, this is a nice card. This would be like the biggest card we'd be running in a deck like Rayleigh. Literally 4 costs as high as we can go. So with it being a 4 cost 6k, that's pretty good. But you have to remember, we cannot buff this character with our leader effect when we're trying to go for lethal, right? So this is just a 4 cost 6k blocker. That's what this is, with no counter. It's a 4 cost 6k blocker with no counter that has some additional upside to discard a card from our hand to, minus 2,000 power for the turn. I said this, I think, in yesterday's video. I can't remember. I said this in a previous video. I think this card is actually really going to be really good in Shanks, like the actual leader Shanks. And this probably should have been in their starter deck. That's just my personal opinion, but whatever. I did at least want to mention this. I do not think we have room for this in Rayleigh, and I'll talk about that more in just a minute. But I'm not a huge fan of this card, that's for sure. In Rayleigh, but it's not a bad card. I just don't think it's good for Rayleigh. That's what I'm really trying to say. Okay. All right, so that's it for those cards. Now we gotta look at the Dawn real quick. I mentioned this yesterday as well. I think it was yesterday, talking about how I'm probably gonna need a full play set of this Rayleigh here to match the Rayleigh leader. Obviously, that's just common sense, guys. Common sense, right? Okay, now. So we're done going over all the cards, and keep those fresh in your mind. I hope you guys paused and read them and let them sink in, because now we're going to look at some deck lists. We're going to look at a deck list after deck list after deck list. We have about 8 of them lined up that we're going to look at and kind of see how the East has been messing around with this leader with the limited amount of cards they've had. And I tried to keep them in order, and I'll explain as we go through them. But basically, like the first few decks for each user, each content creator, was before we saw all the cards that I just showed you, and as they got to see more and more over time, you can see the deck evolve and then making the upgrades. It's actually pretty interesting to look at. Okay, so really cool card here. Now let's get into the deck lists, and I do apologize right away for the quality on this, guys. I did put it up as high as it could go. This was just as high as it was at the time. I don't know if it was something with YouTube or what. Okay, so let's not really focus on the left side of the screen here. We're not worried about blue-purple. We're not worried about blue-purple Luffy. So notice what's going on. I'm going to read through the deck list, then we're going to talk about it. So the first version we're going to check out here, they're running 4 Searcher Nami, 4 Makino, 4 Dr. Kureha, 2 of, I can barely tell what that is. I think it's the Imposter Straw Hat crew, and then 4 of the 2K Counter Sanji, 4 Blocker Chopper, 4 of the when attacking, trash a card, get a card from your trash chopper, 4 of the Rush Zoro, 2 of the chopper that spits out a 3,000 power or lower animal character, 4 of the chopper, you know, of course, the when attacking chopper to cheat out a 4,000 power or lower animal character, I believe it is, or chopper or something like that. 4 of the 2K counter bear. 4 of the event, it's called Shut Up and Come With Us. That allows you to play out an animal from the top 5 cards. 2 guard points and 4 Gum Gum Mole Pistol or Gum Gum Mole Gun. So in the beginning here, of at least of the Silver's Rayleigh, the foundations of Silver Rayleigh, they were really built around this Straw Hat and Animal hybrid package, kind of like what Zoro was running. Because, again, notice there's no observation, there's not even observation hockey in this deck, guys. So this is one of the very first versions we've seen where they didn't have any observation hockey in here because it wasn't available yet. That was before the spoiler, I believe. Like before it was spoiled, I'm saying, only when the leader was available. So this was the first rendition they came up with, or one of the first renditions that they come up with from the East. And I will link these videos in the comment section below. So don't worry, if you want to see them in action, these will be linked in the comment section below. But you could tell the original direction for the list, they were focused on the Straw Hat Chopper Animal version of it, because that gives the most value from Red currently. Okay, but watch how things change over time. So now, introducing Observation and Armament Haki, and this is before Conqueror's Haki. They did a little bit of changes. I'm going to go back here. They got rid of the 2K counter. Hang on, actually, what did they get rid of? They moved some cards around here. I'm trying to see on the fly. Okay, they got rid of the chopper. They got rid of 2 of the choppers that do the when attacking effect to pull cards out of the trash. And then they got rid of a lot of the searchers. The Makino's gone and the Dr. Kureha are gone. And they put in the 2K counter Sanji that can make your characters unblockable if they're Straw Hat crew. Okay, so you started seeing the progression here. Like, okay, they're still stuck on the this content creator in particular. They were still stuck on the idea of let's go with the Animal Kingdom package. Now you need to keep that in mind too, guys. What do you think going forward? Do you want to keep the Animal Kingdom Pirates? The Animal Kingdom. What am I talking about? The Animal Straw Hat package in there with Chopper. I don't think that's going to be the way. But watch what happens, guys. So that was the first 2 versions of Rayleigh that they were messing with on one of the channels I follow. Okay. In fact, I can't remember the name of the channel. It's not York's channel. It's one of the other ones I follow. But like I said, I'll have that link in the comment section below. Now let's look at the 3rd version. Watch what happens. Then they introduced Conqueror's Haki and the 4-cost Luffy. And look how the deck changed. Look at the evolution of it, guys. I really love seeing stuff like this when newer and newer cards are released. And this is why it is extremely hard to just say whether a leader is going to be good or not without knowing what their full support is. Because look what happened. This deck completely transformed. It was this zoo package with barely anything that we know that's out now for OP12 because we didn't have anything out back then, or they didn't when they were putting this list together. Then okay, a new card gets spoiled. All right, well we have to put that card in, and look at that, they did, and now they're up. They went from 4, 8. 10. They only had 10 events in the original version of this deck list. It went from 10 all the way up to 16. Okay, it went up to 16 events pretty much overnight when the 2 new Armament and Observation Haki cards were revealed. Okay, that allowed them to move the deck in a different direction. Now watch this. Then you introduce Observation Haki, and all of a sudden, Chopper's gone. The whole zoo animal package, the Chopper package, that's gone. And now they're able to focus on some things that seem to me to be the way to go, like with 1-cost Buggy. Now, how many? We still have 16 events here. Did they put that in the last one? They didn't. So in this version, and they also upgraded their Altart leader at the top. You love to see that, right? See the leader change to Altart? Let's go. But now they have, okay, now there's a direction starting to form. They still have the 1-cost Searcher Namis. They still have a 2K counter Makino in there to buff your 1-cost characters. They added Magara. That can also buff your 1-cost characters. And they added Buggy. Buggy is an event searcher. Well, wait a minute. Don't we have Boa and the new cards we showed there, Boa and Shakuyaku? Yes, but this person didn't have that during that time. Now, watch what ends up happening. Now we go, this was the final one. It was the same as the last one. And again, this video, these last ones were before. These were recorded before the release of the spoilers, Shakuyaku and Boa. But let's do our own, brainstorming here. Well, this is a very simple fix now, right? We can replace Buggy with Shakuyaku. We can just do a straight shifting of Buggy over to Shakuyaku because it can already do all the searching Buggy can do and even more. And then for Boa, we can probably change something else around as well. Maybe even get rid of some of the whatever that 2-cost imposter card is. It's right above Zoro, guys. We will look at in a minute. I will show that some of these cards at the end of the video, but it's basically like this 2-cost. It's a gimmicky 2-cost 3K that can attack one time, and then it attacks for 5, but then it's like a 1,000 power character on your opponent's turn. It's a weird gimmicky card, but hey, you can kind of see what's going on here, and it makes a lot of sense, and I really like the direction they're going with this. I think, and I will mention this as we get to some of the other lists, I think this is the way to go right here. Like I said, change out the buggy for the, in fact, maybe keep the buggy in there as well and add the Shakuyaku card. Like maybe you just add both of them and go from there. That might be the way to go. We'll have to see. But I think what we see on the right here, this is something special. Big fan of how this is turning out. Now, so that was 4 games from the same exact content creator. Now we're going to go to 4 more games from a different content creator who are also working on a Silver's Rayleigh list. Okay, nice. I can actually keep my face cam bigger. So this one has higher quality. It's easier to see this one. And I have to say, now, when they did their first testing with this deck here, notice what they did right away. The person, and I believe this is York's channel is what they're called. York is the name of the channel, I believe. This one here, they went right past the animal package. Now, I think they did do one animal package. Yeah, it's the next one. I think they did 2 different versions to kind of start start the game off. But notice at the top here, you even have like Luffy as the background here, like it's the leader is Luffy, pretty much. And that's kind of how they built it with more of the Straw Hat theme in mind. But remember what I was saying, these lists are going in like, in chronological order, right? We're going from the earliest versions before anything was spoiled, and you're going to see the evolution of the deck take place and the progression into the better cards that are, the better cards for Rayleigh, let me say. Okay, so right here, they were running the 2 Divine Departures. I do like that idea. Big fan of that. They're running 4 Nami, 4 Makino, 4 Buggy, 4 of the 2K Counter Sanji, 4 of the Rush Sanji. Now, that is where it's at. And I don't think the person we looked at last time, I don't think they ever came across that in their testing. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I do think that these 4 of 2-cost Rush Sanjis are the way to go. Those are 2-cost, 4,000 power characters with Dawn ×2. This character gains Rush. That's it. There's no counter on it, but it's a very aggressive card, and I really love the idea of that, especially once we get to the to Boa Hancock. Just giving that card 2 Dawn for free after swinging with Boa, that has a lot of aggression built into it. Okay, then they're running 4 of the Rush Zoro. That seems to be like a common trend across all the decks. 4 of the Sanji, another common trend. Now, this deck is running 4 of the Kid and Killer here, because that's just a 4-cost 7K. That's like our top end in a deck like this. And they were running 4, 8, 12, 16, 18 events. They were running 4 Rad Beams, 4 Guard Points, 2 of the 2 years back in Archipelago, or whatever it's called, the Searcher event, 2 Divine Departure, 2 of the Monkey King Kong gun or something like that, and then 4 Gum Gum Mole Pistol. This deck already looks very strong to me, and the direction I'm looking at building it, with, of course, adding the new cards to it. Now, let's see the progression they went through. This person, they even went over into an animal package just to kind of see what they liked better, I think. And remember, guys, this was before the Armament and Conqueror's Haki and all that was revealed. Now watch. So this was their version of the animal version, the zoo version of the deck. It was kind of the same as what we saw from the previous channel content creators, but it was a little bit different down here with the Searchers. They have the one called Searcher event, the Divine Departure still, and this card, I think it's called like Cloven Hoof or something, I can't remember, but yeah, pretty much the same idea. Now, watch this. Okay, now we get access to Armament Haki, Conqueror's Haki, the new Luffy, and the Observation Haki. And all of a sudden, this deck starts going in a very different direction, right? Now it's like, okay, wait, they added 2 Crocus. I like that idea. You can cheat out some of these smaller characters here. They kept the buggy in. And again, this is without having access to the new Searcher Boa or the Searcher Shakuyaku. Okay, but it's starting to pick up this same form. This one looks exactly like this version, the first version we looked at, with the slight modifications adding the new Haki events that are for Rayleigh. Okay, and then finally, this is their final version of the list here with Shakuyaku and Boa. And guys, let me tell you right now, if you are trying to play Rayleigh on release, like for, well, whether you're in the East, because guys, I know I have people who listen to the channel from wherever you might be in the world. If you're playing in the East and you're trying to get right into Silver's Rayleigh, I'm going to tell you right now, this is the direction I would be going. This list right here is pretty much card for card the way I would run it. I would probably make a few adjustments because I do like this 2-cost Sanji a little bit more than most people probably will. I think this should go up to a 3 of. 3 of is actually perfect instead of 2 of. And then I actually really like the idea of going the Divine Departures they were running earlier. I really love that idea. And I also like the idea of maybe trying to fit in 1 or 2 Kid and Killer. So this, though, what we see right here, I'm loving this. Like, this looks really good. I think they did a really great job building this list. And this is a wonderful start for us for Shanks. I mean, for Rayleigh. Okay, they're running 2 Nami, 2 Makino, 4 Buggy, 4 Shakuyaku, 4 2K counter Sanji, 2 Dedan, 4 Boa, 2 of the Rush Sanji, 4 of the 3-cost 6K Sanji, 4 of the new Luffy, all of the Haki events is 4 ofs, and then they're running 4 of the King Kong Gatling, or whatever that card's called, I can't remember, and 2 of the Gum Gum Mole Gun, or Mole Pistol. Okay, this is awesome. This looks really, really good. Okay. All right, now we got 2 more different decks to look at. I just wanted to show just a few more options out there. I do like the way they set this up. That's really cool how it's like the actual cards. You can see the proxies and stuff too. Notice how it says proxy over Rayleigh down here. It actually, they proxy them up like this, like I said, and they'll just like play, have fun with the new cards. Now notice, this is before. This is a nice before and after again, guys. So watch this. So this is before all the events came out, but still notice the core of the deck. It is still there, guys. There's something to be said about like the 1-cost searcher, the 1-cost event searcher in Buggy, Makino, and since you're running Makino, that's a lot of 1-cost characters, guys. I do like what they were doing in this last list here with the Dedans. I think Dedan has a lot of potential in here, and it's a 3,000 power character. We can cheat out with something like Crocus or with the 4-cost Luffy. We're going to have to find the correct ratios for those numbers later. We'll talk about that later. But there is something to be said here, and this was running the Animal Zoo package with Chopper, and then everything else kind of lines up. But now watch this, guys. Even this channel here, I believe this is Zokuchi Records or something like that. And now notice what happened here. So on the left is literally Zoro is what they're calling it, Zoro with the Zoo animal package. But notice on the right here, okay, this is when all the 0-cost events came into play and all that good stuff, right? You got the 4-cost Luffy in. Now they're running Nico Robin. I love that 1-cost tech card there. It's something we can search up with Dedan for removal for the little chump blockers. Really good stuff there. And it looks like 4, 8, 12, 16. Looks like they're running 16 events. I think 18 might be the sweet spot for events, guys. But that's for another. We'll talk about that later. It's something about 18 for me, guys, with top 5 searches, and it ends up being like a 90% chance to hit. But hear me out. This, what we see right here, I'm really loving this. I mean, I think this is definitely a step in the right direction. I think there's a lot of potential here. Okay, they're running the Magra card, they're running Buggy, they're running the Nami, the Makino, the Dedan, 3-cost Sanji and Zoro, 4-cost Luffy, all 4 of each of the Haki cards, 2 Nico Robin, 2 Guard Point, and 2 of the King Kong Gatling, whatever it's called. Okay, and that should be it, guys. Let me see something. Yeah, that's it for all the different decks we were looking at today, and that gives us a good idea of where to start when we're building this list as soon as it gets updated for us on the sim. But I do want to leave this one on the screen because I think this is the most updated version. The last one we just saw at the very end there, that was without having access to the new Boa or Shakuyaku. They had not put out any information on that just yet. But this right here is the most up-to-date version, and I think it's the cleanest. I'm a huge, huge fan of what they're doing here, and it looks like they're running 4, 8, 10. Yeah, I think they're running 18 events exactly in here. I think that is the way to go. They have 18 events in here, so when you're doing your top 5 searches for red events, you're gonna whiff 1 out of 10 times, if that, right? Like, you get a 90% chance to hit at that point, generally speaking. And then even for the 1-cost cards, they're a little bit low on 1-cost cards, like to do the Dedan search, but they're only running 2 Dedans. That's just when you absolutely need it, I guess. But I don't even know if we need. I don't know if we need Dedan anymore. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Because we have 4, 8, 12. We have 12 1-cost characters. So Dedan only has 12 targets that it can hit. At the same time, though, that's still very powerful. It's better than nothing, and it's a 3,000 power character we can buff with our leader effect. It has additional value. But again, let me just summarize like this. This is a great starting point for Rayleigh, okay, guys? And I will have it linked down in the comment section below. Games from, what we see on the screen here. There's a lot of games that have been played in the East, Proxy Games, using Rayleigh, and he's not doing as bad as people think. I've heard a lot of negativity about this leader, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I was very negative about the leader. I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. I was very negative about this leader starting off. I was frustrated. I was frustrated with the amount of restrictions and conditions they put on my guy Rayleigh. Yeah, let this poor man go. Let him be the beast he is. But hey, it is what it is. I think this is going to be a really good start. Like I said, let me end it there. And now we're going to check out the sim real quick and talk about some of these cards. But yeah, I think this leader is doing a lot better than I thought it would, especially after seeing the new support. Okay, so let me go ahead and get out of full screen here. We're going to go over to the sim for just a second. Again, guys, I don't have any games lined up for today, unfortunately, but we're going to kind of break down each one of these cards. If you're a newer player and I was talking about a bunch of cards you've never heard of, make sure you pause and read every single card we're about to go over, okay? Because now we're just going to go over some cards in general, and I'm going to talk about them, and I'm going to tell you what I think. Some of the cards we've already seen, some of the cards have some potential. Okay, here we go. So here's the leader. Of course, pause and read this. We've already talked about it. This is Kid and Killer, 4 cost 5k, Rusher. When attacking, if your opponent has 2 or less life, this character gains plus 2,000 power until the end of the turn. This card is very strong, guys, especially with Observation Haki. And do we have Observation Haki in the sim yet? Let me see something. I know we have one of them. Let me see which one it is. Yeah, we do. Nice. So this does a top 4 search, okay, and you reveal up to 1 red event card or up to 1 cost 3 or greater character card and add it to your hand, then put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. So we will be able to search up Kid and Killer with our Observation Haki later in the game. So this is a great finisher for us, and it's just a very powerful, cost-efficient card. It's our top end. It is the highest top end card we really can have access to. It's a 4 cost 7k, ultimately. Tony Chopper. So let me say this up front. I do not recommend we go with the Animal Zoo package. I think Zoro does that too well, and even Red Green Chopper is going to do that better than we can. So I would stay far away from that, and I would try to get advantage more from what we can do with these hockey events. So, but I will say this: I still have this Chopper on there because this is power reduction. This is a blocker. It's a 3 cost 4k. We can buff it with our leader. Even though we're not running the Zoo package, or I'm not going to be focusing on the Zoo package, I still think this Tony Chopper is like, you know, thumbs up. This is a really good card no matter which direction we end up building Rayleigh. Next up, this is the Imposter Straw Hat Crew card I was talking about. It's a 2 cost 3,000 power character with no counter, and it has on your turn, this character gains plus 2,000 power. But on your opponent's turn, he gets minus 2,000 power. So you get to swing for 5k, a 2 cost 5k, which is not bad. But then on your opponent's turn, he is a 1k. That card is pretty much, you know, he's a goner. On defense, he's a goner. But it is what it is. This card's not bad. It's not really what we're trying to do. I don't think we can search it up because Nami does have the winged brackets. It's not types including Straw Hat Crew. So we can't search this card up. And with it being a 2 cost or lower card, we literally can't even search this card up with Observation Haki because we can only search up cards that cost 3 or greater. So we have no way of searching this up realistically because it's also not a 1-drop we can search up with Dedan. Dedan, this is a card we'll look at in a minute, can search up 1 cost or lower, well, 1 cost, it says 1 cost or less characters, but still, we can't search it up with, we can't search Imposter Straw Hat Crew up with Dedan, so what's it worth doing? Yeah, it might not be worth it, is what I'm saying. All right, now, this is a card that I've been focusing on. When I was first putting this deck together, I was really considering making it a Straw Hat film deck before I saw any of the support, of course. You know, if you haven't seen the support, what are you supposed to do? But this card right here, guys, 4 cost, 4,000 power. So that's the top end we can go. It's a 4 cost card. That's as high as we can go. But it's a 4,000 power card, so we can buff it with our leader's effect to put it to 6,000 if we reveal 2 events. Check out what it does. On play, return up to 1 red character card other than Uda with a cost of 3 or less from your trash to your hand. So that is actually not bad, right? So that allows us to just smash in with like just total reckless abandon with our 3 cost 5k Rusher Zoro, our 2k counter, whatever's Sanji, where's our 3 cost? Our 3 cost 6k Sanji. Just rush in, smash in as much as you want to, let the card go and everything, and then next turn you can play out something like this 4 cost Uda, get the card back, and go from there. And even all of our searchers, guys, like whether it be Nami, whether it be Buggy, or whether it be, well, the other cards aren't in here yet, but there's you know, the Shakuyaku and the 2 cost Boa. We'll be able to search those up with this. In fact, the Boa, is it's like perfect for this, right? Because it has an on-play search, and it's a 2 cost or lower. It's a 2 cost character, and we can trash the Boa after attacking, and then pull it back from the trash with Uda to get further value later. I do think this is a card that has not been experimented enough with yet, you know, in Rayleigh. I think this card has some potential, even as just like a 2 of or something like that. Very good card. We'll have to see though. The deck list is going to be very tight. We might not have the room for it. Okay. Okay, next up. In fact, I will put, I don't know why this card is in here. That must have been a misclick. Let me check something real quick, guys. Yeah, I just want to make sure there's no other random cards. Oh, and there was one card I wanted to add that I forgot about from, and we were talking about it earlier, and it's the 3 cost Nami. There's a new 3 cost Nami. This one right here. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so there's Uda. Otama's just a solid 2K counter. I think Makino is just going to be, like, you know, strictly better. Is Makino not in it? Yeah, I have it as a 4-up, sorry. So Otama, this is another 2K counter, 1 cost card, searchable by Dedan. It's a good card, but I don't think we have enough room in the deck. That's the problem. I don't think we have enough room in the deck. 2K counter Sanji, really good stuff here. Nami, this is just a 1 cost searcher. I'm not going to spend time on this. Then we have this OP01 Luffy. So we have a 2 cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter Luffy with a Dawn ×2 effect that says this character cannot be KO'd when battling strike attribute characters. Okay, so that is, you know, this is really, really good. Yeah, this is really solid because it attaches to Dawn. Well, that's going to, first of all, it's something we can cheat out with the new 4 cost Luffy. I don't have the 4 cost Luffy on here. Let me bring that back up real quick, guys, just so we can read it. Remember what he does. This one here. On play, reveal 2 event cards from your hand, and then play up to 1 red character with the power of 3,000 or less from your hand. So we can play that out. We can play that out, you know, with our Luffy, the 4 cost effect, the on play. This is actually a solid card for that, because then we can activate main and give this character up to 2 Rested Dawn cards, and now our Luffy's a 6,000 power, this is a 5,000 power, it cannot be, you know, now none of these have rush, of course, but you guys hopefully get the idea what I'm saying. There is some potential here. There's some potential. It is a 2 cost card, but it's a 3,000 power card, so that goes with Crocus and with the 4 cost Luffy. 3 cost 5K rush Zoro. There's nothing, you know, we don't have to say anything about this. This is just an incredible rush card. Dedan, 2 cost 3K, searching up 1 cost characters. Really good stuff here. And again, let me read this because I said I was going to read it earlier. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 red character with a cost of 1 or less and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So this card is just a perfect searcher for like your Makinos, your 1 cost Namis, your 1 cost Buggies. We're about to go over Buggy in a minute. Any of your little 1 cost searchers, Dedan has a lot of value. It depends on how low we build the deck. It's going to depend on how many Dedans we should run. Vista is just a good 3 cost, 3,000 power, 1K counter character with removal. I think it's crazy not to consider this card. Anytime that I build a deck that has red in it, I feel like I consider Vista in every single one of those decks. So there's no exception here. All right, let's keep going. And plus, we could cheat it out with the 4 cost Luffy's event to remove whatever they played last turn, if it was like a searcher or something, or a blocker. It just has a lot of value. Then we have 2K counter Makino, 1 cost. We rest it down, and then up to 1 of your red characters with a cost of 1 gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. Right, so we're able to tap this card down and buff our searchers to get value from them later in the game, so they can swing even higher. We fill out the board easier, and it's a 2K counter. Really good stuff here. Searchable by Dedan. Magro is the same idea. So this is an on-play version of Makino. It's a 1 cost, 2,000 power character with a 1K counter that has on-play buff up to 1 of your red characters with a cost of 1. It gives it plus 3,000 power. So this is an activate main, and it's a 2K counter with 0 power. This is an on play with only a 1K counter, but it has 2,000 like base power. So you can swing in with this card later if you need to. Or it's easy. Let me say it like that. It's easier to swing in with this card than it would be for Makino. Buggy, 1 cost, 3,000 power searcher with this character cannot be KO'd when battling / attribute characters and leaders. And then on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 red event card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This is just a really good card for searching up events. I don't know if we're going to need to keep this going forward, because now we have Shakuyaku and we have Observation Haki, and we have Boa. But it's still a really good card. Okay, then we have Kuma. This is the same idea as Vista. It's just a nice 2 cost utility, like really low power KO removal type effect here. It's an event, or excuse me, it has a trigger, it has a counter. There's not a lot of downside to the card, and with our leader being Silver's Rayleigh, we can actually just buff this card later to a 4K just by revealing 2 events. So, you know, there is something there, or there might be something there. Shiraya, just a great blocker. This is another reason why I wanted to go film with the deck, because I'd have access to Shiraya and the Uda and the searching and stuff like that. I think if there was a better red film searcher other than, I don't know, maybe it is worth considering there is a 2-cost Luffy film searcher. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Here it is. 2 cost, 3,000 power, so we can cheat this out potentially with Crocus or the 4-cost Luffy. 1k counter, activate to trigger the on-play effect, and the on-play effect is top 3 search for a film card. So, like, there is something to be said there. I think it could be decent. Let me just say that. But, yeah, I don't know how else to say it, guys. It's something I have to work on. There could be something there, but now that I've seen some of the new spoilers, the list is becoming tighter than I thought it would. It's becoming very hard to fit everything into the deck, all the ideas I have for it. Now we have Dogra and Magra. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power, 1k counter character with on play. Give up to one of your red cost 1 characters, double attack until the end of turn. This is just a cute idea. It's like very, very last on the list, though. I think this, like, we don't have time for this. All the other stuff I'm talking about trying to include in the deck, there's no way we have time for something like this. But who knows? You never know. Maybe we find a double attack deck in the future. Could be good. Who knows? Building Snake, Gordon, and there's one other one. What's the other one? There's Gordon, Building Snake, and Raise Max. I don't see Raise Max on here. Well, whatever. They're all the same idea. They're 1-cost, 2,000 power characters. Let me go over Gordon because like, for some reason, Building Snake has, like, the counter bar on the left, but he doesn't have a counter. These are all the same characters. I'll just bring it up. It's Max, Raise Max, this card right here. Okay, so this card, Raise Max, this card, Building Snake, and this card, Gordon, they are all the exact same character in effect. They're all 1-cost, 2,000 power characters, and they all have Activate Main to place this character at the bottom of the owner's deck and give a character minus 3,000 power for the turn. Minus 3,000 power for the turn. So they're solid. They're just worth considering. I don't know if they're going to be worth it or not in the end. We probably just won't have room in the deck. But if we do end up trying to run something like Gum Gum Mole Gun, guys, I'm telling you right now, Raise Max, or if green becomes super prevalent in the format with, like, Eustace Kid, being able to have access to a 1-cost minus 3,000 power for the turn, that goes a long, long way into certain decks. So, something for us to consider. 3-cost Sanji. Pause and read this if you don't know what it does. This is an all-star in red right now, an absolute MVP. Same thing with Tony Chopper. It's a 4-cost 4K with a 2K counter. It has blocker, and this character has plus 2,000 power on your opponent's turn. Guys, I would honestly see this card almost like how Blackbeard sees Shiryu, the new 4... Guys, I have to bring that card up real quick. There's a 4-cost black card named Shiryu. Let me see if I can find... I probably should have just typed in SHIR for Shiryu, and I could have found it faster. I'm just going to do it. Okay. Here we go. This card right here came out in OP10. It's a 4-cost 5K, but on your opponent's turn, it's a 7,000 power character. So it's like a 4-cost 7K on your opponent's turn. That's exactly how I would see this card in this deck. I would not even see this card as a blocker. I would see this card as a 4-cost 6K that also has blocker and is a 2K counter and is Straw Hat searchable. I think there's a lot to this card. I think this is a card that I don't know if I saw this one in the other decks we were checking out the list for, but I do think there could be something here. It's just fine. It's like I said, guys, it's so hard to find room in the deck right now. Another 2K counter to consider, this Luffy. 3 cost, 3,000 power, 2K counter, and then Dawn times 2. On your turn, this character gains plus 2,000 power. So this card has a 2K counter slot in the deck. You can cheat it out with your other Luffy, and then when you play out Boa Hancock, you can use her ability, trashing Boa to attach 2 Dawn to this card. And now you have 2 Dawn attached to a character, and you're smashing in for oodles, right? It just becomes massive, massive damage. So something to really consider. I think there's some serious potential for this card in the deck. Gordon, like I said, it's like Building Snake and Raise Max. Sanji, I mentioned this earlier. It's just a 2-cost 4K Rush Sanji. You have to attach 2 Dawn, though, to get the effect off, which makes me want to run a card like the next one here, Brooke, that on play attaches 2 Dawn and fills out your board. I do think that, like, it's going to be such a tough deck to build properly because I want to run a full Straw Hat package, but you can't run a full Straw Hat package if you're trying to run the observation hockey stuff, and that should be the main reason you want to run Rayleigh. We'll talk more about that in a minute, but I think there's something pretty cool here with the Straw Hat stuff, and it just seems so strong. It's so perfect for what Rayleigh's doing. Maybe we can find the perfect ratio to go 50-50. We'll have to see what happens. Jory Bonnie, this is a new ST21 card. These next 3 are ST21 cards. It's a 1-cost, 3,000 power, Dawn times 2 on KO, draw a card. So there you go. That Dawn times 2 thing is actually turning out to be very relevant if you want to add some of these cards. Dawn times 2 on KO, this draws a card. Okay, seems good. And then this Nami, 3 cost, 1,000 power, 1k counter, activate main once per turn. Give up to 2 Rested Dawn cards to one of your Straw Hat type leader or characters. So we can't give it to our leader, but we can give it to one of our characters. So really powerful stuff here. Zoro, this would be another top end card with another Dawn ×2 effect. Dawn ×2, this character gains rush on KO. You may play a red character with 6,000 power, base power or below, other than Zoro, from your hand. So it's another really powerful on KO effect, like Crocus, that's cheating out characters from your hand, and you can go from there. Yeah, Crocus, Zoro, and even the 4 cost 4K Luffy, that is going to allow us to really fill up the board consistently. So I think we should consider this card, even though I haven't seen many people messing around with it. Okay, now we have the events. Round table, 4 costs, drop 10,000 off a character. I don't think we have room for it, but it's a cool idea. Rad Beam, there's always 1 or 2 spots for Rad Beam in any deck, right? Even with Conqueror's Haki in the deck. And again, Conqueror's Haki has not been added to the sim yet. I have everything on. Guys, let me show you what's been added to the sim from OP12 for red. This is all that's available right now. Pause and read Shanks if you want to. Pause and read Buggy if you want to. These are not going to be good in Shanks, or excuse me, in Rayleigh, excuse me. So, round table, like I said, it's just minus 10k. Rad Beam's a solid card, but I just don't know if there's going to be enough room. This is that Gum Gum King Kong Gatling we saw in one of the decks. It's a 2 cost, activate main, give up to one of your leader or characters plus 3,000 power. Then if your opponent has a character with 7,000 power or more, give up to one of your leader or characters plus 1,000 power. Plus 1,000 more power. Okay, and then Trigger can KO a 5,000 power or less character. So ultimately, you're paying 2 to get plus 4,000 power. That's the idea. Okay. It's not bad, but I think this might only be good as like a 1 or a 2 of in the deck, since we do have to search up events anyway. It could help as like an OTK type of, not even OTK, just as a way to finish our opponent off. Could be decent. Okay, Divine Departure, 1 cost 3k for your leader, or you can activate main, pay 5 more, so pay 6 altogether and KO an 8,000 power character. I think this will need to be in as a 2 of no matter what. I just think it's too useful, and it's searchable by all of our event searchers. Gum Gum UFO, this is kind of like the 2 cost Fire Fist that Rebel Army has, but it's for Straw Hat Crew and Punk Hazard. It's a 2 cost, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4,000 power until the end of this turn. Then if you have 2 or less life, you can give your leader or up to one of your characters plus 1,000 power until the end of the turn. Trigger KOs of 3,000 or less. It's just a nice searchable event. Fire Fist might even just be better, to be honest, guys. Let me show you what card I'm talking about. Well, there's 2 of them. Okay, there's like 3. 4,000 Brick Fist, and then there's 2 Fire Fists. The Revo Army Fire Fist, maybe even Fire Fist. Maybe the Whitebeard Fire Fist might be pretty decent here because we have so many events. I don't know. There might be something there, but let me say this. This Fire Fist, I think, is actually very, very good. I don't think enough people play this card because when we get down to 2 life, we're KOing 4,000 power lower characters like blockers and stuff like that, just getting them out of the way for 2 Dawn. Okay, and then we can attach the 2 Rested Dawn with effects like Nami or like with the Boa. We have so many ways, so many different directions we can go from there. And at the end of the day, it's just minus 4,000. So think about it. If you're playing against green that has something like Eustace Kid on the board, okay, pay 2. That's now a 4,000 power character for the rest of the time. Seems good. Seems good. Observation Haki, of course, we're running that. We will, of course, be running all the different Haki cards as soon as we have access to those on the sim. Guard Point, I just have it in here for whatever reason, and then Gum Gum Mole Gun or Mole Pistol. I can't remember which is the correct translation, Mole Gun or Mole Pistol. It's not always correct on the sim. But yeah, this is a 4 cost. Give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 5,000 power during this turn. Then if you have a character with 6,000 power or more, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a power of 2,000 or less. Trigger, activate the main. The trigger in this deck is pretty much just a debuff because it's probably going to be pretty rare you have a 6,000 power character on the board, but who knows? I guess it is possible, especially like the new 4 cost Luffy. You never know. But let me just say it like this: this card is solid in general, and it's Straw Hat searchable. It's event searchable. Seems good, right? It's a good card. And that's it, guys. If I missed a card you guys think could be really good in here, by all means, say it in the comment section below. I really want to make this leader work. And let me end this video off on this screen right here. I just want to go all the way to the end here to the list I thought was the best. This one right here. Because, guys, I really think there is something here. I think this person, again, I'll have the links in the comment section below of all these different videos. I think this is the closest list to perfection that I've seen. I'm a huge fan of everything in here. Now there's a few cards, like I said, I don't know if we need anymore. Now that we have Boa and Shakuyaku, I don't know if we need the buggies, and if we get rid of the buggies, we probably don't need the Dadan or the Makino, and that might clear up all kinds of different stuff. And I'll tell you what I'd do right now. That'd be 8 spots cleared up, right? -2 Dadan, -4 buggy, -2 Makino, and I would go up the 4 cost chopper more than likely, and then for the 1 cost buggies, I would actually consider going up some Udas, those 4 cost Udas, to start getting these cards back from my trash and get more value like that. I'd probably run 2 of those Udas though, and then I'd go +2 more of this Sanji down here. That's what's going through my head right now. Those are my most recent thoughts on it. I would also go -2 of these 2 cost Gatlings down here, and I think I'd go +2 Divine Departure. Big fan of Divine Departure in here. We'll have to see what happens. All right, I'm done. I'm done yapping. I think I've done enough yapping. Yeah, okay, yeah, we're almost at 1 hour and 10 minutes. Let's go. I had no idea how long this video was going to run. Whoops, not sim overlay. Guys, let's get the outro on here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hey, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out big time. Thank you guys so much. Guys, if you're supporting this channel in any way, whether you're liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing, using my TCG Player affiliate link, if you're helping me out through donations through Patreon or PayPal, Playmat supporters, YouTube members, Discord community, whatever you're doing to help me out, I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. I really hope y'all are enjoying the content. The game just keeps getting better. I mean, am I the only one who feels that way? And I know a lot of people are probably like, down, feeling kind of down after EB02 came out. I heard some pretty crazy stories about the pull rates for EB02. I heard some nightmare stories about EB02 pull rates, but hey, other than that, other than EB02, which we kind of, I was trying to brace y'all for, guys. We kind of knew the first EB01 was a disaster. It was a nightmare, guys. EB02, yeah, if it wasn't a nightmare, it would have really confused me almost. It would have startled me. It would have really surprised me. But yeah, other than that, the game seems like it's in a really good place. And one more thing I do want to mention on Rayleigh. I'm sorry, guys. I do have to mention one more thing on Rayleigh. I do think this leader just looks really cool now. Because at first, I thought it was so dumb the way they were doing it. But you could tell they were trying to do a theme. They were really trying to stick to the thematics of it, the theme of it. Where it's like, you know what? We're Silver's Rayleigh, bro. Like we, in this, when we're playing as Rayleigh, we are Rayleigh. That's our leader. That's our captain, right? That's the captain of the ship when we're playing Rayleigh. He's our leader. So what are we doing? Like what are we doing? We're training the next little generation of pirates, right? We're training the next little generation, the next group, the next squad. And how are we doing it? With our observation haki, with our armament haki, with our conquerors haki. We're doing all this really cool stuff, with the events and whatnot. I wish they'd made it a little bit stronger. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little biased, though, for my guy Rayleigh. I wish they'd made it a little bit stronger. But I think it's going to be a lot better than I thought at first. After seeing this new after seeing this new support and stuff like that, I do think it's going to be a lot better than I thought. All right, tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. I'm really interested to know what y'all think about it. I'm even going to end with this as the outro. No, we're not. We have to end with the proper VV theory, the VV Pirate supporter page for the outro. But tell me what you guys think in the comments section below, guys. I'm really curious to hear what y'all have to say about Rayleigh. Is he cooked? Does he have a chance? How's it looking? Did I convince anybody? Did I sell anybody on the leader after this video? Did I get anybody into Camp Rayleigh who was previously thinking it had no chance? Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments section below. I'm done. Till next time, guys. Peace.